right down the middle. And what this does is it looks like I've created a little clay button, but all that extra pressure I've added right over that seam will help hold that together. Now I can further decorate this if I want by giving it almost a petal pattern, which on this piece seems to fit fairly well. You can choose to make additions to your form however you would like, whatever appeals to you. Okay. Now that we have the vertical portion finished, we can go ahead and do the base portion of the slab, and I have another slab rolled out for us. And I'm going to go ahead and lay the form down, trace the bottom lightly like I did before so I know where to scratch and score. Pick the form up, scratch over these lines, and if you scratch a little bit outside the lines, that's okay, because we're going to make this bottom a little more organic too. Remember, we can't use the excess clay brought up into the form to hold it together like we did the previous one, so we have to rely on pressure to help hold this piece together. I'll scratch, score the bottom. Now remember, one of these forms you have to add a handle to. Which one of these forms you choose to do that with is entirely up to you, whether it be a textured vertical form or one of your straight vertical forms. That is your choice, but you must add a handle to one of them. And we're going to cut around it, but this time, just like I did with the lip and the edge, I'm going to give myself a little extra clay to play with, and if I find that I have too much out here, I can trim it away, but it's better to have a little more than a little less. Now, with this one, I'm going to do it slightly different. I'm going to gently rock it so that the rocking motion folds that bottom slab under. See how it's folding it around the piece? We don't want to do this too hard because we don't want to force the clay up through the bottom. So once we get it to where it's mostly wrapped up around, then I will take the foam roller and roll it down the rest of the way. Remember, be gentle. This form is very wet still, and it's very prone to marks from handling. You can use your hands to help ease that down. Now this bottom is very different in look from the other one. So to keep it from looking so chunky, I will often go in and add texture to the bottom as well. In this case, I think I'll do a little running pattern with the end of my needle tool. And remember, since I'm adding extra pressure here, this extra pressure is helping to knit that clay together. I'll do this all the way around. Remember to be careful while you're handling your piece so that you don't deform it. The more care you take with your piece, the more likely it is to live through the process. Okay? And now that I have the bottom on this piece, I can go ahead and take out my armature very carefully. And if it wants to be stubborn, just be very gentle pulling it out. If you're too vigorous, you can actually you can mar your piece. We don't want to do that. But we also don't want, there we go. We also don't want to let the clay shrink around the armature. The armature's not going anywhere. So as the clay shrinks around that, it's going to crack because the clay can't shrink smaller than the form it's wrapped around. Go ahead and take out our paper. Wrap the piece and let it dry to leather hard, and then you can refine it and set it back with bisque wire.